Had a good day of fishing, dialed in something really unique I cannot wait to talk to you guys about. Enjoy this footage and make sure you subscribe to the channel. Click that bottom right hand button. Thanks, guys.
Oh, it's a big trout. It's a rainbow trout. Oh my gosh. Rod, what the heck are you doing?
Dude, it's kind of blowing up behind me. Oh, that's that bird.
Yeah, it's that bird. Got him? Oh.
No idea what I have.
I don't know, but it doesn't look, it looks like it's decent size.
What the hell do I have?
It's a brown trout, I think.
I don't think so. I think it's a big smallie.
Oh, yeah, it might be a big smallie, too.
Got it.
I feel the weight of it.
That is unreal. Oh, look at the size of that trout. Oh my gosh. It is huge. Oh my goodness, it's a giant. It ate a 1/4 ounce spark shad, or 3-inch spark shad on a 1/4 ounce tungsten head. As it was falling, we've been seeing these fish out here on the Panoptics, and we haven't been able to get them to bite, or they've just been nipping the tail. And God, that is a massive trout. Monster brown trout. Oh. Welcome to Lake Jocassee. You never really know what you're gonna catch. Fish.
There he goes. Got him?
Dude, it is a giant spot.
Oh, is it?
It's a giant spot. Oh, look at that fish, dude. Mega bass spark shad right in the roof of his mouth. God, that is a fat spot. Holy crap. We seen that ball of bait out there with the Panoptics. I threw that little spark shad down on it, and I'm like, man, I'm excited to get down there, and my line just started to kind of get tight, and big spot, ate it on the fall. A lot of times when those fish eat it on the fall, it's a big fish. Man, that is a good one.
Got him?
Yeah.
Piece of fish?
Too.
Wow.
I don't know.
Smallie.
I don't know what it is. Look at that fish. Funny looking fish. I can't tell if it's a spot. It don't, dude, it don't have a dot on its tongue.
Another one? All right.
2 casts in a row right here. Just really maximizing my electronics, really being patient. This fish is coming out of 60 foot of water on a spark shad, 3-inch, 1/4 ounce tungsten. It's a good one too. I can tell by the size of it on the graph. Good spot. Healthy fish right here. Wow, how about this? I just undid my thing. Look at that. He's got a drop shot hook in his mouth right there. Look at that. That's nuts. Another little spot. Hayes Dome 1/4 ounce. I'll tell you a little secret. Something that's helped us today. And I know the wind's blowing. I know it's tough to hear. I'm recording with GoPros, but little secret is we've been, honestly, just because of the conditions, it's been really, really tough. So what we've been doing is looking for cormorants and seagulls, and we pulled into this pocket, and when we pulled in here, we just noticed a bunch of loons and cormorants around, diving, chasing bait under the water. And you know, a really good chance is if you find cormorants diving on bait, what it's creating is a competitive feeding environment. And bass, whether it be a largemouth, a smallmouth, or spotted bass, love feeding in a competitive feeding environment. Think about when they're schooling, or think about when you see them wolf packing down the bank or fighting over a lure. They're competing. So we've seen a lot of loons diving on bait and a lot of seagulls around these areas, and Ron and I immediately were like, hey, let's hunker down, spend some time in there, use the Panoptics, try to locate the piles of bait, and let's try to match the hatch on this high pressure day. And just like that, we're putting some fish in the boat. So there's a little secret. Look for those birds, look for those seagulls diving, look for those loons and cormorant diving on bait. They might just lead you to a good school of fish.
Oh, there they are. They saw fish. Has been feeding.
Look at how fat that stomach is on that spotted bass. Look, it's got, you got a big old lump right there. He's throwing up threadfin and herring the whole way in. But they got this big ball of bait pushed up in here. We've seen once again the birds diving on them. Pulled the Panoptics up on them. There's fish underneath the ball of bait that the loons are diving on, and just like that, good spot. Holy, look at how fat that fish is right there. Oh my gosh, that's unreal. Oh, look at all the bait in his gut. Oh, he's just throwing it up all over the place. Little baby herring. Oh my gosh, that is unreal how fat that fish is.
Yeah. Let me steal one of those baits from him.
I just letting it free fall 180. Got him. Oh! A little bit. Check this out. Right there. It's kind of hard to see with the glare, but these birds are breaking on shad all out in here, and then just throwing a swim bait down and letting it sink. There you go, just like that. Another one. Caught them pretty good so far. We're right here at the end of the day. Had a pretty good bite with that thing. I think this was right there, both of them. And there's a fellow swimming way out there. All right, so we're out here on Joe Cassie. I just want to show you guys, you know, what we're looking at. This is a big cloud of threadfin shad, and I'll pan, you know, from side to side. So look, check this out. We got a couple fish right there, another big cloud of bait. Got a fish underneath that bait right there. So, you know, we're just out here, we're seeing birds dive and seagulls flying, and then we're just getting out here and, you know, really just using those fish or those birds to locate the fish, locate those fish, and then, you know, just making passes with the Panoptics, really trying to locate these schools of bait. And as you're panning, you know, you're seeing just random fish show up. There's one right there. So, you know, you're really maximizing nature, you're maximizing your units, you're maximizing your equipment, and, you know, making precision casts out here, you know, around these balls of bait. You know, there's a big cloud of bait. You can see this fish out here to the right. Big old cloud of bait. So, you know, just trying to use everything to our advantage, especially today. It's been a little bit tougher today.
Yeah.
You know, but we've ended up we've caught a really nice bag of spotted bass. We probably have, you know, I'd say 6 fish in that 2.5 to 3.5 pound range. Big, healthy, chunky spots. So, you know, that's the deal. Utilizing the electronics, you can see right there, big old stud on the outside of that bait, all that bait, but using the birds, using our electronics, and really maximizing our day, and turn it into, you know, from a tough day to a successful day on the water. That's how you do it. You just got to use all your resources, pull it together.
What a fun day today on Lake Jocassee with Ron Phillips. I love taking Ron out. Ron and I always seem to get on him. I beat him up a little bit today, so hopefully he forgives me, but it's good form. It's good form. But anyways, I want to talk today about really how we found a lot of those fish. You know, there's bait that's been in a certain area of the lake, and I know it's been there, but today it really wasn't there. Or so I thought. You know, it was a little more spread out, and we had a really, really hard time locating these schools of fish, even with Panoptics and even with side scan, because I guess they've just been getting hammered by the fish, and there's just less of them, and the birds have been getting them. But you know, right off the bat, I'm like, dude, what the heck's the deal? Well, you know, as we kind of progress through the day, I'm like, you know what? When we're not marking fish, when we're not marking bait, one thing that I'll look for on herring lakes is finding the birds, whether it be seagulls, whether it be loons, whether it be those other little duck diver bait eaters. You know, I'm always looking for signs to be like, to just dial me in, you know? So today it was just a grind, and then I'm like, oh man, there's some cormorant diving, there's some loons diving, and check that out, there was some big, you know, just big balls of bait coming out of the water, and these birds were throwing them, and seagulls diving, and immediately it went off in my head, like competitive feeding environment, there should be some bass under them, getting those injured bait fish, kind of the scraps. I take a mega bass spark shad on a 1/4 ounce tungsten, 8-pound test, throw it out there. I just let it free fall, tick. And then just like that, we kind of figure out what the deal is. So I've had it happen before. I've been out on Chinook before in a tournament, just absolutely grinding, just like brutally tough day. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh man, there's some cormorant diving over there, there's some loons diving. All of a sudden you're putting yourself around a lot of predators, a lot of predatorial feeders that are just like eating like crazy. You know, you got the loons diving, you got seagulls diving. Now it's a competitive feeding environment, and bass love that. That's why they school, that's why they, you know, how often have you seen, you know, when someone's reeling in a fish, another fish is trying to eat the lure out of its mouth? Bass thrive, spot, smallmouth, largemouth, thrive on competitive feeding environments. So when it's tough, a lot of times you have got to kind of hunker down and pay attention to what nature is trying to tell you. And today it was pay attention to the birds. You know, the birds really gave away where those bait fish were. It happened in almost every spot we went to. It was like, hey, there's seagulls diving, there's cormorant diving, and there was aggressive fish around it. You know, we caught some good ones today. We had a couple 3.5, 3-pounders, a few 2.5, 2 3/4 pounders, you know, but that was the deal. On a tough day, I talked to the guys at the dock. They're like, man, they didn't catch but 2 fish, didn't catch but 4 fish. One guy said he had 6 fish. You know, here we are, we grinded out. I think we ended up catching right at 18 fish on the day. I didn't get a couple of them on the GoPro, and some of them were just purely dinks, but some of them were really nice because we hunkered down and we paid attention to what nature was trying to tell us. If you find the birds, you'll find the bait. If you pay attention to that, whether it's in the ocean, on herring lakes, the Great Lakes, upstate New York Finger Lakes, Lake Norman, Murray, just lakes that are highland reservoirs, offshore, nomadic, pelagic bait fish with predatorial birds, man, those birds can dial you in. So that's how we did it today. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed the footage. I hope that these tips help you catch more fish, and I appreciate you. Please make sure you subscribe to our channel. Thanks.